When we think about sports, it's almost immediately that our minds take us to the Olympics. Debatably, the biggest and best sporting event in the world, the Olympics, is a part of all of us. The Olympics, they're a feeling that we all get, and the memories are ingrained in our minds forever. Who can forget when Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal and just cheered like every other Canadian watching? How about when Alexander Bilodeau won the first ever gold on Canadian soil, finally putting Canada back on the map? Or even when Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir danced their way onto the podium again in Pyeongchang. You see, these moments are a part of all of us, but it doesn't stop there. After every Olympics, there's something that occurs that sometimes doesn't get all of our attention. And no, it's not the after party, but it's the Paralympics. Hello and welcome to Paralympic Homecoming, the show dedicated to the athletes and stories of the Paralympic Winter Games from Pyeongchang. My name is Ryan Savine, and alongside me today is none other than very own Christian Steeds. Christian?
Thanks, Ryan. Today, we're going to take a look back at the 2018 Paralympic Games that just wrapped up in Pyeongchang. We've got a lot of great story things for you today on tap, so let's just get things started. What better place to start than a little recap of the Paralympics themselves? Let's take a look at what the Games had in store for athletes and fans across the globe.
Mac Marcoux and Jack Leach. Mac and Jack comes to the line. Marcoux has smashed it.
Your hands up if you're feeling yourself. Hope them haters can't stand it.
Kurt Oakway steams into the lead for Canada.
Now it's about time. Your hard work paid off with no Ponzi scheme. A few bucks made off. And I'm straight.
Brian McKeever has taken out this men's 20K visually impaired all in a day's work.
You deserve it. Just put some aside. Do what you like with your earnings. Only keep like can't rehearse it. So
Molly Jepson, 18 years old, and the young Canadian is the Paralympic champion of the women's super combined.
Stand back and engage in new ways. You want success, you work.
Taking his place in Paralympic Winter Games history as the most decorated cross-country skier. But it is McKeever, as it almost always is. He looks around. Yep, done it again. He is Mr. Cool on skis.
Your hands up if you're feeling yourself. Hope them haters can't stand it.
The work Marco Renz is putting into this. And finally, the gold medal will be his. He's been chipping away all week. 3 medals to his name. He's even had to share out one of them. But now the gold is his.
You give it all when it comes time to touch down. At the goal like a
Can this be a medal for Canada? Can it be a gold? Wilkie is giving it everything.
Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Canada.
See what the outcome of hard work bring for. Using each opportunity to springboard. Sink or give up,
the main man who has done it again. Was it ever in doubt? Not really. Brian McKeever.
It must be tempting to keep going when he is so much better than his rivals.
Representing Canada,
Brian McKeever. Kai Graham Nishikawa.
Them haters can't stand it.
What an excellent recap there. And now, a huge part of the Paralympics is after the event, we want to see the medal count. So why don't we take a look at that right now, Christian?
Yeah, sounds good.
And obviously, no surprise here. We see the United States up there, number 1, 13 gold, 15 silver, and 8 bronze. And that gives them a total of 36, 12 more than any other, or the next place country, should I say. And interesting to see this board goes by gold medals, not total medals.
Yes, absolutely. And as you can see, pulling up the second spot there is the neutral Paralympic athletes, coming in at 8 golds and 10 silvers, just edging out Canada for the third spot. As you can see, a total of 24 medals, and Canada fell short in the silver category by 6 medals, and they rounded off with a nice 28 medals to finish off the tournament.
For sure. Pretty happy where the Canadians finished there. And quickly rounding out our top 5, we have France and Germany, 7 golds each, 8 silvers each. And you see the difference here, just 5 bronze to 4 bronze, and that's where We find the difference, those are our medal counts, and now let's keep things going, shall we? Beyond the medals and the events, a huge part of the Paralympics is the dedication of the fans that travel across the world to cheer on their country's athletes. We sent our very own Max Correia to talk to some Canadian fans that made the trip to Pyeongchang to cheer on some of their fellow Canadians. Max?
Thanks, Ryan. I'm here with two fans who just got back from Pyeongchang, Raquel, Franco, and Cassandra DeMarco. Now, both of you guys saw some fantastic Paralympians at Pyeongchang. One that I know you want to talk about was Liam Hickey on the sledge ice hockey team.
Yeah, Liam Hickey is a real winner. Like, this is a guy who just loves to compete. He's played in now both Summer Paralympic Games and the Winter Paralympic Games, and he's such a team player on both teams. You know, he unfortunately came away with silver this weekend in the Paralympics, and he's working. The men's wheelchair basketball team is working their way up too, and I think he's somebody everybody should look out for in the future because he's a real Bo Jackson. He's going to be a star of Paralympic sports for some time to come.
And now someone who you were talking to me about, you couldn't stop talking about it, was Molly Jepson, Cassandra.
Yeah, she's really interesting. This was her first Olympics. She's only 18 years old, and she competed in 5 events within alpine skiing, and she medaled in 4 of them. And like I just found that really interesting, and just kind of comparing her to Mark Aarons. This is his 3rd Olympics, also a skier, and he just won 6 medals this Olympics. In the first Olympics, he didn't place anywhere, and then in Sochi he had 2 medals, and now finally he had 6. So just comparing the two of them, Molly just started and she already has 5 Paralympic medals. So, and her career is just starting. She's only 18. She has many more games in her. So I was just fascinated by where is she going to end up.
Yeah, no, some truly fantastic stories. That's all from us here. We'll send it back to Ryan at the desk.
Thank you very much, Max. Great little interview there. Let's face it, everyone loves to travel, and when you can get paid to do so, well, that's just a dream come true, right? We're joined now by our very own Ailish Forfar, who had the experience to be on hand at the Paralympic Games in Pyeongchang.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem, Ailish. Thank you very much for being here today with us. So, just off the bat, tell me a little bit about how amazing of an experience it was for you to be at the Paralympic Games.
I mean, it's really tough to put it into words. It was definitely the most incredible experience I've had. You know, being an athlete and a fan my whole life, being there to see the athletes in action, to just be immersed in that atmosphere was unparalleled.
Yeah, it definitely really did sound like a great experience that you had there, and I heard you had the opportunity to go to the opening ceremonies, which was probably amazing. Tell me about that.
Well, it definitely was an amazing way to kick off the Paralympic Winter Games. So I got to be right down in the holding areas with all the athletes. I met people from all over the world, and what connected them was their passion for the games. So I got to speak to people from countries that I hadn't even known existed. It was just incredible for me to be able to see that passion uniting everybody, to talk to these athletes, to hear their stories, just to see that excitement on their face right before they get out for their competition and to cheer on their fellow countrymen. It was really the greatest way to start it, and was one of my highlights of the games for sure.
Definitely, it just sounds like a very humbling experience, and you obviously had the chance to attend a lot of events, but which one was your favorite to watch?
It's a tough question, but for sure the one that stands out the most in my mind would be the para ice hockey bronze medal match, which may be a surprise as there was no Canada, no US in that final, but however, Correia took home the bronze. And for me, that was really exciting because I was immersed in an entirely full Korean stadium with people that, you know, may not have been the biggest hockey fans in their lives, but they came there to cheer on their fellow Koreans. And when Correia took the bronze with about 3 minutes left in the game, it was incredible, and they all sung the Korean national anthem and held hands, and I cried, and it was just a beautiful experience. It really shows like the essence of sport, in my opinion, and you know, being there, watching their prime minister and the first lady go down on the ice and you know, celebrate with their athletes. That's how you know that sport just means a lot to everybody across the world, and I'll never forget that atmosphere in that stadium, and I left knowing that would be a memory I'd have forever.
Well, Ailish, it sounds like you had a great time. Thank you very much for joining us here in studio today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. More Paralympic Homecoming after the break. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
It's not always easy. And as your toes will tell you, it's not always warm. But to all of you whose show play doesn't happen on its own, we say thank you.
We all play for Canada. We all play for Canada.
Welcome back to Paralympic Homecoming. Now, while the Olympics allow us to focus on the amazing stories of the past and the present, for some people, it lights a fire to create their own stories. I had the opportunity to sit down with a Paralympian right here at Ryerson as she opened up on her current game, her role as an athlete, and the future of the Paralympics.
My name is Marissa Papaconstantino. I'm 18 years old. I go to Ryerson University in the sport media program, and I was born without my right foot. Throughout my whole life, I played a lot of different sports. I started soccer at the age of 3. I'm in a really athletic family, so I guess not doing sport wasn't really an option for me, so I did a bunch of different things: basketball, tennis, gymnastics, kind of see what I liked. But I always knew I had a passion for running, but I was never actually able to compete in track until I was 13 years old because I wasn't able to get a running blade until then. So yeah, that's kind of how it started, and once I was able to get my running blade, I entered a local track club, and it kind of just, so I attend Hull and Bloorview's Rehabilitation Hospital for Children, where that's where I've always had my legs made throughout my whole life, and knowing different aspects in the Paralympics at a young age, I really wanted to get more into it, and I wanted to get a running blade, and so I asked my prosthetist, and she did a lot of research and figured stuff out, and that's how I was able to get one. But I'm fortunate enough to have some pretty great sponsors to supply blades for me because they're not cheap at all. They're about $15,000. Yeah, I mean, for myself, I was born without my right foot, so it's really all I know. But obviously, I've had to overcome challenges that the average athlete would not have to overcome. I have to go to prosthetic appointments when the average person doesn't, and so sometimes my equipment doesn't function properly, and that piece of equipment I rely 100% of my effort on because that's what gets me through training and that's how I run. I didn't want to, give up, and I think that's something that I haven't done at any point throughout my life, is I've never given up on something. With the increase in participation, it's really great to see that because it means that the sport is growing and it's becoming even more competitive. But it can be a little scary. For my situation, getting my second running blade took 3 years to perfect, and it's still not even perfect. My first running blade was working for me, and then in order to get to that next level, I had to transition to something new, and that took a really long it was a really long process, and it took a really long time. So what I would say to people that are in that situation, it doesn't necessarily have to be, getting a prosthetic, but any sort of thing. It takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication and to put effort into it, and I think that it's not just a quick thing that works right away. It does take a lot of time, so that's definitely what I would say to people, is that it's not easy, but the end goal and the end outcome and the feeling is just so much better. My name is Marissa Papaconstantino. I'm 18 years old, and I was born without my right foot.
I just find it so personally inspiring to know we have athletes like that just in our own community right here. Just so inspiring, just for me personally. I don't know.
You know what, it is, and it's great to see her being an open role model for younger athletes, and we're really thankful she was willing to sit down and talk with us.
Absolutely great experience. And on the subject of role models, our team put together a list of 3 athletes to watch for the Paralympics coming up in the summer of 2020 that are going to be taking place in Tokyo. So our first athlete, a Quebecer from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Aurielle Rivard, and as you can see, her swimming has shown some amazing promise here. 3-time Paralympic gold medalist, a 2-time Paralympic silver medalist, and a 7-time Para-Pan Am Games medalist. That is some crazy accolades for a 21-year-old, in my opinion. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Absolutely. So much accomplished at such a young age, which brings us to our second athlete, none other than Marissa Papaconstantino. Her success in 2015 and again in 2016 Olympics raised some eyebrows, and in 2017 she again placed in the top 10 in the Pan Am Paralympics.
For sure. Now we're going to go to our third athlete, maybe a little bit older than the other ones. That's Ross Wilson, a 2-time Paralympic silver medalist, 3 World Championship appearances, and you know what, maybe his last chance to bring home some medals for Canada, but he's probably going to be more of a mentor on this team coming up in this Paralympics. Thank you very much, guys. My name is Ryan Savine, and this has been Paralympic Homecoming.
I'm Christian Steeds, and we'll see you next time.